Illinois real estate exam practice questions. Question 1. An owner personally advertises and negotiates the sale of the owner's own farm parcel. Why is this usually treated differently from brokerage for others? Option A. Owners may generally sell or lease their own property without acting as licensed brokers for the public. Option B. Every owner must hold a broker license before signing a deed. Option C. The owner is automatically sponsored by the buyer's broker. Option D. The owner may collect commissions from other sellers without a license. The correct answer is option A. Owners may generally sell or lease their own property without acting as licensed brokers for the public. Real estate license laws typically regulate brokerage services performed for others, especially for compensation. An owner selling the owner's own property is not thereby representing the public as a broker, while licensing would be required to collect commissions or broker transactions for other owners. Question 2. A property manager named Morgan collects rents, screens tenants, arranges maintenance, and accounts for owner funds. Which duty is most central? Option A. Guaranteeing that every tenant will renew. Option B. Managing the property in the owner's interest while properly accounting for funds and records. Option C. Commingling all rents with personal funds. Option D. Ignoring fair housing laws during screening. The correct answer is option B. Managing the property in the owner's interest while properly accounting for funds and records. Property managers owe duties tied to the management agreement, owner instructions, legal compliance, and accurate accounting. They cannot guarantee renewals, commingle funds, or ignore fair housing requirements while screening tenants. Question 3. Annual property taxes are $3,120, and the seller owes the buyer a credit for 86 days using a 365-day year. Approximately how large is the credit during Blair's Elgin small apartment building file review? Option A, $260. Option B, $9. Option C, $735. Option D, $1,470. The correct answer is option C, $735. Daily proration divides $3,120 by 365 and multiplies by 86 days, giving about $735. The other choices use 1 month, 1 day only, or double the required prorated period.
Stressed about your AccuPlacer exam? We can take AccuPlacer exam for you remotely and undetected. We always guarantee a pass and payments only after results. To send us an email, scan the code or tap the link in the description and let's get it done.
Question 4. Kendall posts a social media ad for a listing near Decatur using only a personal phone number and no brokerage identification. Which issue is most likely raised by Illinois advertising rules? Option A. A licensee may advertise without any broker identification online. Option B. Only print advertising must identify a broker. Option C. Brokerage identification is unnecessary if the property address appears. Option D. Real estate advertising must identify the sponsoring brokerage in a compliant and not misleading way. The correct answer is option D. Real estate advertising must identify the sponsoring brokerage in a compliant and not misleading way. Illinois advertising expectations focus on protecting the public from misleading ads and making the sponsoring brokerage clear. Online ads are still advertising, and the property address or a personal phone number does not replace proper broker identification. Question 5. A broker representing Sydney receives confidential negotiating information. Which duty is most directly triggered? Option A. Protecting confidential information unless disclosure is authorized or legally required. Option B. Revealing all confidential strategy to the opposing party. Option C. Changing the purchase price without permission. Option D. Ignoring lawful client instructions. The correct answer is option A. Protecting confidential information unless disclosure is authorized or legally required. Agency and brokerage duties include protecting confidential information while also making required disclosures. Revealing strategy, changing terms without authority, or ignoring lawful instructions would violate core client-service duties. Question 6. A listing closes at $330,000 with a brokerage fee of 4.0%. What total commission is generated before any split? Option A, $6,600. Option B, $13,200. Option C, $16,500. Option D, $3,300. The correct answer is option B, $13,200. Commission is calculated by multiplying the sale price by the commission rate. $330,000 times 4% equals $13,200. The distractors divide the commission, use the wrong percentage, or calculate only 1% of the price. Question 7. A listing broker learns of a roof leak discovered after heavy rain before a buyer submits an offer. How should the issue generally be treated in an Illinois exam scenario during Kendall's Moline Lakefront Cottage file review? Option A. It may be hidden if the seller requests silence. Option B. It is never relevant once the property is listed as minus is. Option C. A known material fact should be disclosed rather than concealed. Option D. It must be disclosed only after the buyer obtains a loan. The correct answer is option C. A known material fact should be disclosed rather than concealed. Known material facts can affect a buyer's decision and should not be concealed. A seller's request, and as minus is label, or the timing of financing does not eliminate the broker's duty to avoid misrepresentation and disclose material information. Question 8. A study question asks whether an interest is remainder interest. What is the candidate being tested on? Option A. The amount of commission owed to the broker. Option B. The mortgage interest rate. Option C. The required size of a residential disclosure form. Option D. The nature and duration of rights held in real property. The correct answer is option D. The nature and duration of rights held in real property. Estates and land describe the nature and duration of property rights. Commission, loan interest rates, and disclosure minus form size are separate topics and do not define the estate itself. Are you looking for Illinois real estate exam actual questions? Visit our website pokerexams.com to access Illinois real estate exam study guide with actual questions and answers. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description to get Illinois real estate exam answer key today. Question 9. A seller receives $300,000 at closing, pays off a $80,000 mortgage, and pays $8,000 in seller closing costs. What are the approximate net proceeds during Jamie's Waukegan Commercial Suite file review? Option A, $212,000. Option B, $220,000. Option C, $292,000. Option D, $88,000. The correct answer is option A, $212,000. Seller net proceeds subtract the loan payoff and seller costs from the sale price. $300,000 minus $80,000 minus $8,000 equals $212,000. The other answers omit one deduction or add deductions instead of subtracting them from the sale price. Question 10. A residential seller in Illinois knows about past roof defects but leaves the disclosure report blank. What concept is most directly tested? Option A. The buyer's duty to ignore all seller statements. Option B. The seller's disclosure obligations for known material defects. Option C. The lender's exclusive duty to inspect the property. Option D. The appraiser's authority to waive statutory disclosures. The correct answer is option B. The seller's disclosure obligations for known material defects. Illinois residential disclosure rules focus on the seller's disclosure of known material defects. Buyers still may inspect, but that does not make seller disclosure meaningless. Lenders and appraisers do not waive statutory disclosure duties. Question 11. A buyer wants to operate a retail shop in a residentially zoned property in Joliet. Which issue should be investigated before closing? Option A. Whether the deed automatically changes zoning. Option B. Whether the broker can override the ordinance. Option C. Whether zoning permits the intended use or whether an approval such as a variance is needed. Option D. Whether title insurance guarantees business income. The correct answer is option C. Whether zoning permits the intended use or whether an approval such as a variance is needed. Zoning controls land use, so the buyer's intended use must be permitted or approved through the proper local process. A deed, broker preference, or title insurance policy does not automatically change zoning or guarantee business income. Question 12. A small rental property has annual net operating income of $39,000 and an indicated capitalization rate of 10%. What value is suggested by the income approach during Casey's Springfield 2-flat building file review? Option A, $3,900. Option B, $195,000. Option C, a different result not supported by the facts. 3. Option D, $390,000. The correct answer is option D, $390,000. The income approach using direct capitalization divides NOI by the capitalization rate. $39,000 divided by 10% equals about $390,000. The other answers multiply by the rate, treat the percent as a whole number, or cut the indicated value in half. Question 13. Hayden receives $2,250 in earnest money and places it in a personal checking account for convenience. Which trust minus account problem is illustrated? Option A, commingling client funds with personal funds. Option B, a lawful automatic conversion of escrow funds into commission. Option C, a required method for handling every earnest money deposit. Option D, a title defect that is cured by recording a deed. The correct answer is option A, commingling client funds with personal funds. Client or customer funds such as earnest money must be handled through the appropriate special or trust account process. Putting the money into a personal checking account is commingling. It is not automatic commission, not the required method, and not a title minus recording issue. Question 14. A business offers to find apartments for renters in exchange for a fee. Why might Illinois licensing law be implicated during Taylor's Naperville townhome file review? Option A, rental minus finding services are always exempt regardless of activity. Option B, rental minus finding services can involve regulated real estate activity when performed for compensation. Option C, only sellers can trigger licensing law. Option D, the service becomes legal if no written records are kept. The correct answer is option B. Rental minus finding services can involve regulated real estate activity when performed for compensation. Rental minus finding and leasing minus related services may be regulated when performed for compensation. The activity is not automatically exempt, licensing law is not limited to sales, and failing to keep records does not cure an unlicensed activity issue. Question 15. A property is worth $349,000 and has a loan balance of $93,000. Approximately how much equity does the owner have during Riley's Rockford small apartment building file review? Option A, $442,000. Option B, $93,000. Option C, $256,000. Option D, $279,200. The correct answer is option C, $256,000. Equity is the property's value minus debt secured by the property, so $349,000 minus $93,000 equals $256,000. The distractors add debt, report the loan balance, or use an unsupported percentage of value. Question 16. A sponsoring broker is asked to produce special account records during a regulatory review. Which practice best supports compliance during Avery's Bloomington mixed-use storefront file review? Option A, deleting old deposit records once the closing occurs. Option B, keeping records only in the salesperson's personal email. Option C, combining all clients into one undocumented cash envelope. Option D, maintaining complete transaction and trust minus account records that can be examined when required. The correct answer is option D, maintaining complete transaction and trust minus account records that can be examined when required. Regulators may examine records to verify compliant handling of funds and transactions. Deleting records, relying only on a personal email, or using an undocumented cash envelope undermines record retention and auditability. Question 17. A licensee knowingly misrepresents a material fact to induce a buyer to sign. Which licensing consequence is most relevant during Cameron's Champagne vacant lot file review? Option A. Disciplinary action for unprofessional or dishonest conduct. Option B. Automatic zoning approval. Option C. A mandatory title insurance payout. Option D. A tax prioration credit only. The correct answer is option A. Disciplinary action for unprofessional or dishonest conduct. Knowing misrepresentation can trigger discipline because it harms consumers and violates professional standards. Zoning approval, title insurance payout, and tax prioration are unrelated remedies for this licensing misconduct. Question 18. Alex signs an exclusive listing agreement and later asks why the writing matters. Which answer best fits exam-tested brokerage agreement principles? Option A. A brokerage agreement eliminates all disclosure duties. Option B. Written terms help define services, compensation, duration, and the parties' obligations. Option C. Oral promises always replace signed terms. Option D. A brokerage agreement transfers legal title to the broker. The correct answer is option B. Written terms help define services, compensation, duration, and the parties' obligations. Brokerage agreements define key business terms and help avoid disputes about services and compensation. They do not eliminate disclosure duties. Oral promises generally do not automatically replace signed terms, and the agreement does not convey title to the broker. Stressed about your Illinois real estate exam? We can take Illinois real estate exam for you remotely and undetected. We always guarantee a pass and payments only after results. To send us an email, scan the code or tap the link in the description and let's get it done. Question 19. A commercial tenant pays base rent plus a share of property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. Which lease type is most likely being described during Hayden's Aurora Lakefront Cottage file review? Option A. Gross lease. Option B. Ground lease only. Option C. Net lease. Option D. Life estate. The correct answer is option C. Net lease. A net lease shifts some or all operating expenses to the tenant in addition to base rent. A gross lease usually places expenses primarily on the landlord. A ground lease concerns land rental, and a life estate is an ownership interest rather than a lease minus payment structure. Question 20. A sponsored licensee uses the team name River City Team in advertising. Which compliance concern should be checked first during Parker's Evanston Suburban Ranch home file review? Option A. Whether the team can operate without a sponsoring broker. Option B. Whether the team name creates automatic title insurance. Option C. Whether the team may set commission rates with competitors. Option D. Whether the team name and ad clearly avoid misleading consumers about the sponsoring brokerage. The correct answer is option D. Whether the team name and ad clearly avoid misleading consumers about the sponsoring brokerage. Team advertising must be clear enough that consumers are not misled about the brokerage relationship and sponsorship. A team does not replace the sponsoring broker, create title insurance, or justify antitrust violations. Question 21. A settlement service provider offers a broker a hidden referral fee for steering buyers to that provider. Which federal concern is most likely during Reese's Oak Park commercial suite file review? Option A. RESPA restrictions on kickbacks and unearned fees. Option B. Fixture classification. Option C. Adverse possession. Option D. The rectangular survey system. The correct answer is option A. RESPA restrictions on kickbacks and unearned fees. RESPA addresses prohibited kickbacks and unearned fees involving settlement services. Fixtures, adverse possession, and land survey systems are unrelated to hidden settlement minus service referral payments. Question 22. A business offers to find apartments for renters in exchange for a fee. Why might Illinois licensing law be implicated during Alex's Decatur farm parcel file review? Option A. Rental minus finding services are always exempt regardless of activity. Option B. Rental minus finding services can involve regulated real estate activity when performed for compensation. Option C. Only sellers can trigger licensing law. Option D. The service becomes legal if no written records are kept. The correct answer is option B. Rental minus finding services can involve regulated real estate activity when performed for compensation. Rental minus finding and leasing minus related services may be regulated when performed for compensation. The activity is not automatically exempt, licensing law is not limited to sales, and failing to keep records does not cure an unlicensed activity issue. Question 23. A buyer includes an attorney review contingency in a purchase agreement. What is the main purpose of that clause? Option A. It automatically gives the broker ownership of the property. Option B. It removes the need for mutual assent. Option C. It gives the party a contractual condition that must be satisfied or waived under the agreement. Option D. It makes all deadlines meaningless. The correct answer is option C. It gives the party a contractual condition that must be satisfied or waived under the agreement. A contingency creates a condition that can affect whether the parties must proceed or may terminate under stated terms. It does not transfer ownership to the broker, replace mutual assent, or eliminate all contractual deadlines. Question 24. A consumer asks why a state real estate recovery fund might exist. Which purpose is closest during Quinn's Normal 2-Flat Building File Review? Option A. Guaranteeing every buyer a profit on resale. Option B. Paying all ordinary home repairs after closing. Option C. Replacing the need for broker licensing. Option D. Providing a limited source of recovery for certain losses caused by licensee misconduct when statutory requirements are met. The correct answer is option D. Providing a limited source of recovery for certain losses caused by licensee misconduct when statutory requirements are met. Recovery funds are designed as limited consumer minus protection remedies for qualifying misconduct minus related losses. They do not guarantee investment profit, pay routine repairs, or replace licensing and discipline systems. Question 25. A contract identifies land using a recorded plat description. Why are legal descriptions tested separately from street addresses during Sydney's Carbondale condominium unit file review? Option A. A legal description is intended to identify the parcel with greater legal precision than a mailing address. Option B. Street addresses are always more legally precise. Option C. Legal descriptions are used only for personal property. Option D. A legal description replaces the need for a seller's signature. The correct answer is option A. A legal description is intended to identify the parcel with greater legal precision than a mailing address. Legal descriptions identify the land for conveyance and title purposes, while street addresses are often practical but less precise. They apply to real property, not personal property, and they do not replace signature and contract requirements.